Good morning. A very warm welcome to all. I'm Pramod Kumar Singh, Dean, School of Governance, Development and Policy, Tribhuvan Sahakari University, and Professor at IRMA. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the National Conclave on Implementation Pathways for National Cooperation Policy 2025 and Way Forward, which is jointly being organized by the Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India, and Tribhuvan Sahakari University, Anand. सबसे पहले मैं अपने मुख्य अतिथि श्री कृष्णपाल गुर्जर जी, माननीय राज्य मंत्री सहकारिता मंत्रालय का अत्यंत सम्मानपूर्वक स्वागत करता हूं। मान्यवर, आपकी गरिमामयी उपस्थिति हमारे लिए अत्यंत गौरव का विषय है। भारत के सहकारी आंदोलन को नई दिशा और नई गति प्रदान करने में आपके नेतृत्व के लिए हम हमेशा कृतज्ञ रहेंगे। Now I extend my very warm welcome to Professor Mahendra Dev, Chairman, Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, whose distinguished contribution to development economics, agriculture policy, poverty, employment, and inclusive growth have enriched national policy in India. I extend my very warm welcome to Sri Satish Marathe, Director to the Central Board of the Reserve Bank of India, whose long and distinguished experience in banking, cooperative institution building, and financial leadership has made a significant contribution in strengthening India's cooperative and financial ecosystem. I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Ashish Kumar Bhutani, Secretary, Ministry of Cooperation, whose stewardship has been central to carrying the national cooperative agenda forward and with clarity, purpose, and institutional commitment. I also warmly welcome our special guest, Sri A.P. Das Joshi, Secretary, Ministry of Food Processing Industry, whose presence adds great value to this national gathering. A very special welcome to the representative of National Cooperative Federations, whose institutions have played a defining role in shaping the reach, resilience, and relevance to cooperative movement in the country. I extend a warm welcome to all distinguished dignitaries, senior officials of the Government of India, representatives of state governments, leaders of cooperatives institutions, eminent experts, panelists, scholars, practitioners, and delegates. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you all. अब मैं विनम्र अनुरोध करता हूं कि माननीय श्री कृष्णपाल गुर्जर जी, राज्य मंत्री सहकारिता मंत्रालय, प्रोफेसर महेंद्र देव जी, अध्यक्ष प्रधानमंत्री के आर्थिक सलाहकार, श्री सतीश मराठे जी, डॉक्टर आशीष कुमार भूटानी जी और श्री A.P. दास जोशी जी, आप सभी कृपया दीप प्रज्वलन हेतु पधारें। The lamp lighting ceremony symbolizes the dispelling and darkness through knowledge, wisdom, and collective purpose, and makes the auspicious beginning of this conclave. अब मैं श्री आनंद कुमार झा, संयुक्त सचिव पॉलिसी से विनम्र अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे माननीय मंत्री श्री कृष्णपाल गुर्जर जी, सहकारिता मंत्रालय का अभिनंदन करें। मैं श्री रमन कुमार, संयुक्त सचिव CD से विनम्र अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे प्रोफेसर महेंद्र देव, अध्यक्ष प्रधानमंत्री आर्थिक परिषद का अभिनंदन करें। मैं डॉक्टर मुकेश कुमार सिंह, निदेशक पॉलिसी से विनम्र अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे सतीश मराठे जी, निदेशक केंद्रीय बोर्ड भारतीय रिजर्व बैंक का अभिनंदन करें। मैं श्री कपिल मीना जी, निदेशक मीडिया से विनम्र अनुरोधन करता हूँ कि डॉक्टर आशीष कुमार भूटानी जी का अभिनंदन करें। मैं श्री पंकज श्रीवास्तव, निदेशक सीटीपी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे श्री पीएस दास जोशी, सचिव खाद्य प्रसंस्करण उद्योग मंत्रालय का अभिनंदन करें। Ladies and gentlemen, today's conclave is not merely a formal gathering. It is an important national platform for reflection, dialogue, and action to the future of cooperative movement in the country. माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का सहकार से समृद्धि का दृष्टिकोण सहकारी क्षेत्र को नई ऊर्जा, नई दिशा और नया राष्ट्रीय उद्देश्य प्रदान करता है। It has reaffirmed that cooperatives are not peripheral institutions in the country. They are central to inclusive growth, rural transformation, grassroots participation, local enterprises, and democratic economic organizations. इस कॉन्क्लेव का महत्व इसी व्यापक परिप्रेक्ष्य में निहित है। नेशनल कोऑपरेशन पॉलिसी 2025 ने कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर के पुनर्जीवन और सुदृढ़ीकरण के लिए एक व्यापक और महत्वाकांक्षी फ्रेमवर्क प्रस्तुत किया है, जो हम सब जानते हैं। अब हमारे सामने दायित्व यह है कि हम इस पॉलिसी एस्पिरेशन को आगे बढ़ाकर प्रैक्टिकल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की ओर एक ठोस कदम उठाएं। वास्तविक चुनौती केवल सिद्धांततः रिफॉर्म का समर्थन करना नहीं है, बल्कि उन्हें प्रभावी इंस्टीट्यूशन, अधिक सशक्त गवर्नेंस सिस्टम और बेहतर डिजिटल कैपेबिलिटी, उच्चतम मैनेजरियल कॉम्पिटेंस और धरातल पर सार्थक आउटकम को रूपांतरित करने में है। इसी कारण आज के प्रोग्राम को अत्यंत सावधानी से प्लान किया गया है। आज का प्रोग्राम हम 3 भागों में देखते हैं। इस सेशन के बाद एक्सपर्ट लेक्चर्स होगा, जिसमें कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर के समक्ष उपस्थित कुछ महत्वपूर्ण प्रश्नों पर स्ट्रैटेजिक इंसाइट्स प्रदान किया जाएगा। पोस्ट लंच सेशन में आयोजित ब्रेकआउट सेशन इन्हीं प्रश्नों को अधिक केंद्रित थीमेटिक डेलिब्रेशन के दायरे में लाए जाएंगे। सामूहिक रूप से सभी सत्र इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए व्यवहारिक पाथवेज को प्रस्तुत करने का प्रयास करेगा। ये सत्र ठोस प्रैक्टिकल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन भी लाएंगे, साथ ही भारत के कोऑपरेटिव इकोसिस्टम को सुदृढ़ करने हेतु क्रियान्वित करने का भी संकल्प लेंगे। हमारे समक्ष रखे गए थीम्स समानुकूल भी है और अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण भी। वे कोऑपरेटिव बिजनेस के भविष्य, डिजिटल सिस्टम, डेटा ड्रिवन डिसीजन मेकिंग की भूमिका, मेंबर एजुकेशन का सुदृढ़ीकरण, यूथ और विमेन की भागीदारी, पैक्स के रूपांतरण तथा अधिक सशक्त और उत्तरदायी कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर के लिए व्यापक लीगल और इंस्टीट्यूशनल आर्किटेक्चर से संबंधित है। अतः आज की ये डेलिब्रेशन विचारों, अनुभवों और व्यवहारिक पाथवेज को एक साथ लाकर कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर को इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ, नेशनल डेवलपमेंट के एक प्रमुख स्तंभ के रूप में सुदृढ़ करने में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान देंगे। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं आप सबका एक बार पुनः हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। नाउ मैं इनवाइट डॉक्टर आशीष कुमार भूटानी जी, सेक्रेटरी, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कोऑपरेशन, टू डिलीवर द वेलकम एड्रेस। सर।
नमस्कार। माननीय सहकारिता राज्य मंत्री श्री कृष्णपाल जी, प्रधानमंत्री जी के इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजरी काउंसिल के अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर महेंद्र देव जी, श्री सतीश मराठे जी, सचिव खाद्य प्रसंस्करण उद्योग मंत्रालय श्री AP दास जोशी जी, चीफ कोऑपरेटिव इलेक्शन अथॉरिटी के चेयरमैन श्री DK सिंह सर, DMD नाबार्ड, सहकारिता मंत्रालय, कृषि मंत्रालय, एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एंड डेयरिंग विभाग, फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री मंत्रालय, RBI, नाबार्ड, NFDB आदि के वरिष्ठ अधिकारीगण, आमंत्रित किए गए डोमेन एक्सपर्ट्स, राज्यों से आए अधिकारीगण, नेशनल फेडरेशंस, स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक, अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक, डिस्ट्रिक्ट यूनियंस, सहकारी समितियों इत्यादि से वरिष्ठ अधिकारीगण और सहकारिता क्षेत्र से जुड़े साथियों, देवियों और सज्जनों, आप सबको पता है, मालूम है कि सहकारिता हमारे संस्कृति में सदियों से निहित है. It has been there in our civilizational ethos for generations, but formally the cooperative system came into being in India with the enactment of the Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904 because of the distress faced by a lot of people due to the, I would say, problem with the money lenders. And that started or kick-started the cooperative movement in India. And after that, we have seen the flourishing of the cooperative movement in the country. And over a period of time, it has evolved into a vital pillar of India's socio-economic framework, particularly in the rural and the semi-urban areas. They have served as effective instruments of inclusive growth, grassroots empowerment, and people-centric development. Recognizing the immense potential of the cooperative sector, Government of India, in its wisdom, decided to have a separate ministry which came into being in July 2021. And with the formation of the ministry being led by a very, I would say, very under the able leadership of Shri Amit Shah, we have seen transformational initiatives from the ministry numbering more than 150. I'll touch upon some of them before I come to the National Cooperative Policy. We in the ministry believe that the primary agriculture credit societies, or PACs as we call them, there are nearly more than 1 lakh of them in the country. Out of the 8.5 lakh cooperative societies, form the basic framework of the cooperative sector in the country, and its transformation is critical and vital to transformation of the cooperative sector. And we started with the transformation through the generation and production of model bylaws, which were prepared in consultation with states and adopted by nearly all of them. Now, that has formed the basis of PACs becoming more vibrant, multidimensional, diverse in their portfolios, etc., giving them more vibrancy as well as viability. And thereafter, we ventured upon taking up a program of computerization of PACs. And as you've seen, that nearly 80,000 PACs have been taken up for computerization in the country onto a common ERP national platform and integrating them into the cooperative banking structure through NABARD. Now, that will transform the way we interact with the cooperative rural credit structure in the country. We are all aware that it's a three-tier system with the state cooperative banks being at the helm, with the district central cooperative bank at the district level, and PACs being at the village level. We are also aware that PACs do not have a banking license. The other two tiers have a banking license, but their integration with the banking system was vital to ensuring that there is a seamless transformation of information from the highest to the lowest level in the corporate rural credit structure, and that would help us in bringing in transparency, trust, as well as speed of decision making in the country. Another big program which the ministry has launched is the decentralized grain storage program. Now, that is, I would say, one of the most toughest programs which we have launched in the ministry. We are aware that we are trying to integrate the existing schemes of the central and the state government into implementing a program which would set up decentralized storage at the PACs level, addressing the need for the decentralized storage, ensuring proper pricing for the farmers, reducing post-harvest losses, as well as ensuring a system of lower logistic costs. We'll come to that as we go along during the day, how this is going to transform the way we transact in the villages, especially the interrelationship with the fair price shops and the FCI procurement systems. We've also, over and above that, worked on the cooperative banking ecosystem. We are all aware that there were a lot of problems in the banking infrastructure in the rural and urban areas, primarily because of technology. They were being left far behind because they were not able to embrace technology the way they should have. All of us are aware that even rural areas now, people want mobile banking services, internet banking services, which they are unable to provide. So the ministry, with the interaction with the Reserve Bank of India, the NAFCOB and other NAFCOB, etc., we embarked upon setting up two different entities. One for the urban cooperative banks, now called the Umbrella Organization, which is providing technology in a uniform way to all the banks. This has been set up about 2 years back, and we are confident that within a year, all the banks will be enjoying and embracing the services being provided by this entity. 1,500 urban cooperative banks in the country. Imagine 1,500 tenders being floated for the smallest of initiatives, and the quality of services they were getting from fly-by-night operators in many instances, especially the smaller banks. Now, a uniform technology at the best rate being provided from centrally by an entity, something which will going to transform these urban cooperative banks. Similarly, for the rural cooperative banks, we set up Sahakar Sarathi, an initiative with the pilotship of NABARD, where we provide similar services to the rural cooperative banks. Another entity called the Cooperative Bank of India, the COBI, is under formation. I should see light of day in a year's time, which will be a national federation of the rural cooperative banks at the apex level. Now, these initiatives are transforming the way we transact do business in the cooperative banking framework. We have taken a lot of other initiatives to ensure that cooperative banking is at par with other banks, and there are a number of initiatives with the Finance Ministry, which we'll talk about during the sessions as we go along. Over and above that, Government of India realized that there's need to set up, I would say, strong entities at the national level to address the problem of quality of seeds, pilot the entire organic movement in the country, as well as ensure that the cooperative produce also finds international markets through a robust export network. So 3 different multi-state cooperative societies for exports, organics, and seeds have been set up by the ministry by a decision of the Union Cabinet. Now, over and above that, we also are aware that proper manpower training, capacity building is essential to taking the cooperatives to the next level, and Tribhuvan Sahakari University formation last year was a step in that direction. We are in the process. We have already started courses in the university, and we are sure that within 2 years, all the courses which we envisage would be going on through the university. Over and above that, Ministry has also launched a White Revolution 2.0 initiative, which aims to increase the cooperative footprint in procurement of the milk by 1.5 times in 5 years' time. Now, that is going to substantially increase the footprint of the cooperatives, strengthen them, also ensure women's empowerment and sustainability and circularity. I think we'll be talking about during the sessions as we go along how we are going to ensure sustainability and circularity in the cooperative system. Now, another initiative of the ministry is Bharat Taxi, which is something which is a very unique and different type of initiative of the ministry. It's a cooperative-led hailing platform which that places drivers at the center. They are the owners and decision makers in opposition to the other system where they're primarily only the workers under a corporate regime. That reflects the ability of the cooperative model to emerge, to cater to the needs of emerging sectors, and new age economic opportunities are also being captured through such initiatives by the ministry and other states as well. Now, government has also approved an ambitious plan to set up 200,000 new PACs and primary dairy and fishery cooperative societies in the country, primarily to ensure symmetric development and also plug the gaps wherever they are in the country and ensure that all areas in the country, I would say, prosper and progress normally in the cooperative sector. That is an initiative which has been there for the last 1.5 years. Substantive progress has been made, and we'll be discussing this in one of the sessions as we go along. Now, coming to the national cooperative policy, it was on the annual for a long time. It took us nearly 2 years to actually publish it in July 2025. A lot of consultation happened. Mr. Suresh Prabhu led committee went into, it's a 48-member committee which discussed threadbare with all the stakeholders, all states. There were regional workshops held, and as we went along, we also agreed that a lot of initiatives need not wait for the launch of the national cooperative policy. We started unveiling one by one all these initiatives. You might find mention, you might think that the policy is talking about something that has already begun, because policy already had those initiatives, but since consultation took time, we started rolling out all these initiatives one by one. We'll discuss these initiatives as well. Now, this policy is quite different from the 2002 policy which we had, which was the last policy which we had. It not only strengthens the institutional frameworks, but also energizes the cooperative movement and aligns with it aspirations of a modern, self-reliant India. The policy goes beyond the system of organizing economic activities which happened in 2002 policy, but also envisions a dynamic, inclusive, and technology-driven cooperative ecosystem. Today's conference is primarily about understanding what we have put in the cooperative policy, discussing the components of the policy, and taking your views as we move on how to implement the various sections of the policy, and also create a, I would say, by the end of the day today and in subsequent sessions as well, when we discuss with some of you offline after the conference, how to create a definite roadmap for implementation of most of these initiatives. In the ministry, every fortnight we do meet to see where we have progressed on the policy. And I am happy to inform you that a majority of the initiatives we have already started work. We'll be sharing those details with you during the course of the day today. But perhaps more consultation, especially as we go along in implementation of the policy, will help us in creating a definite roadmap and ensure that we do get to the goals we have prescribed for ourselves in the time frame prescribed of 10 years, 20 years time, which we have mentioned in the policy. So we hope to have a meaningful discussion. We have, I would say, an extremely qualified set of panelists. We have special speakers who will be speaking to you during the day, and we look forward to getting a lot of inputs from all of you, as well as learning as we go along during the course of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm and insightful welcome address and for setting the tone for the conclave with such clarity and purpose, and also updating the delegates with recent initiatives being undertaken by the ministry. Now, may I respectfully invite our special guest, Sri A.P. Das Joshi ji, Secretary, Ministry of Food Processing Industries, to deliver the keynote address. Sir.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister of State for Ministry of Cooperation, Krishnapal Gurjar ji, Professor Mahendra Dev ji, Secretary Cooperation, Dr. Bhutani, esteemed seniors and colleagues on the dais, and dear friends. I am very happy to be here today in this seminar conclave on the implementation of National Cooperative Policy. As Secretary Cooperation has already said, lot of initiatives have already been started, and we can see the impact of that across the country. And I feel that the effective implementation of this National Cooperative Policy will go a long way in changing the landscape of the country, both cooperative landscape as well as the economic landscape. We have seen in the past and in current scenario also that there are effective models based on the cooperative. When we talk about the milk, dairy, banking, sugar, and very recent like Bharat Taxi, those are path-breaking initiatives and have done wonderfully well across the country. From our side, from Ministry of Food Processing, in last 6 years or so, we have supported almost 2 lakh micro food processing units with credit-linked subsidy, capacity building, and marketing and branding support. And cooperatives as a unit have also contributed and have participated very, very actively in that. But I will request Secretary Cooperation also that let more and more cooperative come forward and participate in this PMFME scheme, which is there for basically small, micro and medium enterprises. We have one more scheme in the food processing industry by the name, umbrella scheme by the name of PMKSY, where whenever we sit for the proposal clearance, invariably there are proposals for dairy sector. So dairy as a sector, and earlier it was limited to 1 or 2 states, but nowadays we see that across the country from all the states, lot of dairy units come forward for participating in the our schemes. And that's a very good sign. And we have signed one MOU with the NCDC also, and a number of cooperative applicants have been approved under the PMFME scheme. So I am hopeful that with this new policy initiatives, we will have more and more convergence with the Ministry of Cooperation, and will create a space in the food processing industry where cooperatives will also play a very pivotal role. We have been providing marketing and branding support also to the cooperatives, to the FPOs, to the self-help groups, and which is changing and as we know that, food is one sector where innovation is I think you need not go even 10 kilometers. So those innovations are being implemented by the self-help group, micro enterprises, cooperatives. And I'm sure that with the more and more, convergence will create a lot of value in the sector. I wish this national conclave a grand success and look forward to working with the Ministry of Cooperation in a very, very productive and efficient manner. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your thoughtful and inspiring keynote address. Your remarks have added great value to today's deliberations, and it enriched the broader context of our discussion. We would like to see that the collaboration between two ministries are going stronger. Thank you. अब मैं आदरपूर्वक हमारे मुख्य अतिथि माननीय श्री कृष्णपाल गुर्जर जी का स्पेशल एड्रेस हेतु अनुरोध करता हूं। सर,
आज के इस राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन में उपस्थित प्रोफेसर महेंद्र देव जी, चेयरमैन प्रधानमंत्री इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजरी काउंसिल, श्री सतीश मराठे जी, डायरेक्टर सेंट्रल बोर्ड आरबीआई, श्री आशीष कुमार भूटानी जी, सचिव सहकारिता मंत्रालय, श्री अविनाश दास जोशी जी, सचिव फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री, सभी मंत्रालयों से आए हुए अधिकारीगण, सभी राज्यों से आए हुए अधिकारीगण, सहकारिता क्षेत्र से जुड़े हुए सभी साथी, छायाकार और पत्रकार मित्रों, हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व एवं माननीय गृह व सहकारिता मंत्री श्री अमित शाह जी के मार्गदर्शन में हमारी सरकार सहकार से समृद्धि की परिकल्पना को साकार करने हेतु एवं सतत सहकारी विकास के लिए अनुकूल वातावरण के निर्माण द्वारा भारत को 2047 तक आत्मनिर्भर और विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने की आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की परिकल्पना को पूरा करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। साथियों, जैसा कि आप ज्ञात है, भारतीय सहकारिता आंदोलन एक सदी से भी अधिक समय से जमीनी स्तर पर सामाजिक आर्थिक उत्थान के लिए सहभागी तथा जन नेतृत्व विकास मॉडल के रूप में अग्रणी रहता है। वर्ष 2002 में जारी पिछली सहकारिता नीति आर्थिक कार्यकलापों को व्यवस्थित करने पर केंद्रित थी। पिछले दशक के दौरान ग्रामीण भारत सड़क, आवास, दूरसंचार, बिजली, शौचालय एवं अन्य बुनियादी भौतिक अवसंरचनाओं के अभूतपूर्व विकास का साक्षी रहा है। हमने ग्रामीण आकांक्षाओं को कई गुना बढ़ा दिया है। ऐसी स्थिति में सहकारिता मंत्रालय की सहकार से समृद्धि के लक्ष्य को पूरा करने के लिए नई राष्ट्रीय सहकारिता नीति तैयार करने की परिकल्पना की गई, जो सहकारी क्षेत्र के व्यवस्थित और सर्वांगीण विकास का रोड मैप प्रदान कर सके। नई राष्ट्रीय सहकारिता नीति के प्रारूपण के लिए श्री सुरेश प्रभाकर प्रभु, पूर्व केंद्रीय कैबिनेट मंत्री की अध्यक्षता में 48 सदस्यीय राष्ट्रीय स्तरीय समिति ने 4 बैठकों और 17 क्षेत्रीय कार्यशालाओं के माध्यम से इस बड़े नई नीति का प्रारूपण किया। राष्ट्रीय सहकारिता नीति 2025 वर्ष 2047 तक विकसित भारत की परिकल्पना को साकार करने में सहकार आधारित आर्थिक मॉडल द्वारा आर्थिक विकास के दूसरे इंजन के रूप में कार्य करेगा। इसका लक्ष्य सहकार से समृद्धि की परिकल्पना को साकार करना और अंततः ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्था को ऊर्जान्वित करके सहकारिता के नेतृत्व में समावेशी विकास का युग लाना है। राज्यों को भी राज्य स्तर की सहकारिता नीति बनाने के लिए प्रोत्साहित किया जा रहा है। अब तक अधिकांश राज्य नीति ड्राफ्टिंग समिति का गठन कर दिया है और 3 राज्यों ने सहकारिता नीति को अनुमोदित कर लॉन्च भी कर दिया है। पहले स्तंभ में सहकारिता की नींव का सशक्तिकरण करने के लिए समयबद्ध सुधारों, सहकारिता में सहकार और सहकारी संरचना को सशक्त करके भौगोलिक पहुंच का विस्तार करना है। दूसरे स्तंभ में जीवंतता को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए सहकारी व्यावसायिक इकोसिस्टम का विकास और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों तक पहुंच सहित इसके बहुआयामी विस्तार को बढ़ावा देना और सदस्यों की आय में वृद्धि करना है। तीसरे स्तंभ में सहकारी समितियों को भविष्य के लिए तैयार करने के लिए प्रभावशाली और पारदर्शी प्रबंधन द्वारा इन्हें पेशेवर रूप से प्रतिबंधित आर्थिक इकाई में रूपांतरित करना है। चौथे स्तंभ में समावेशिता प्राप्त करने के लिए सहकारी समितियों में सदस्य केंद्रितता को प्रोत्साहित करना और इसे जनआंदोलन बनाना है। पांचवें स्तंभ में सहकारी समितियों को नए और उभरते क्षेत्रों में विस्तारित करना है तथा छठे स्तंभ में सहकारी विकास के लिए युवा पीढ़ी को तैयार करना शामिल है। यह नीति देश में सहकारिता आंदोलन को मजबूत और ऊर्जावान करते हुए ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्था को नई दिशा देगी और सहकार से समृद्धि का मार्ग प्रशस्त करेगी। इसका अनावरण माननीय गृह व सहकारिता मंत्री द्वारा 24 जुलाई 2025 को किया गया है। राष्ट्रीय सहकारिता नीति 2025 के मार्गदर्शन में सहकारिता मंत्रालय को अपनी स्थापना के बाद अनेक पहले की हैं, जिनका वर्णन माननीय सचिव महोदय ने अभी आपके सामने किया है। सहकारिता मंत्रालय ने पैक्स को जीवंत आर्थिक इकाई बनाने और उनके कार्यों में विविधता लाने के लिए उन्हें 25 से अधिक कार्यकलापों में सक्षम बनाया है, जिसमें पैक्स कॉमन सेवा केंद्र, पेट्रोल डीजल आउटलेट, एलपीजी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशनशिप, प्रधानमंत्री भारतीय जनऔषधि केंद्र, प्रधानमंत्री किसान समृद्धि केंद्र, प्रधानमंत्री नल जलापूर्ति योजनाओं का प्राचलन और रखरखाव कार्य इत्यादि जैसे कार्य कर सकेंगे। प्रमाणित बीजों के लिए भारतीय बीज सहकारी समिति लिमिटेड, जैविक कृषि के लिए राष्ट्रीय सहकारी ऑर्गेनिक्स लिमिटेड और सहकारी क्षेत्र से निर्यात को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए 3 नई राष्ट्रीय बहुराज्य सहकारी समितियों की स्थापना की गई है। सहकारी शिक्षा और प्रशिक्षण के महत्व को देखते हुए सहकारिता मंत्रालय ने सहकारी क्षेत्र में त्रिभुवन सहकारी यूनिवर्सिटी नामक राष्ट्रीय स्तर के एक विश्वविद्यालय की स्थापना की है। यह सहकारी क्षेत्र में योग्य और पेशेवर श्रम बल की आपूर्ति करेगा। मंत्रालय ने सहकारिता आधारित 2 नई श्वेत क्रांति 0 नामक एक नई पहल लॉन्च की है, जिसका लक्ष्य सहकारी पहुंच का विस्तार करना, रोजगार सृजन करना और महिलाओं को सशक्त बनाते हुए दूध उत्पादन के स्तर को अगले 5 वर्षों में दुगना करना है। भारत टैक्सी भारत सरकार द्वारा समर्थित पहली सहकारी राइड हेलिंग सेवा है, जिसे 5 फरवरी 2026 को लॉन्च किया गया। यह ओला उबर जैसी प्राइवेट कंपनियों के विकल्प के रूप में काम करती है, जहां ड्राइवरों से कोई कमीशन नहीं लिया जाता और वही इसके असली मालिक होते हैं। यह सेवा सुरक्षित, सस्ती और विश्वसनीय राइड प्रदान करती है। देश भर में सहकारी समितियों से संबंधित कार्यक्रमों, योजनाओं हेतु नीति निर्माण और कार्यान्वयन में हितधारकों की सुविधा के लिए राज्य सरकारों के सहयोग से देश में सहकारी समितियों का एक डेटाबेस विकसित किया गया है। सरकार ने सहकारी समितियों की राज्यवार और क्षेत्रवार मूल्यांकन और रैंकिंग करने के लिए दिनांक 24 जनवरी 2025 को सहकारी रैंकिंग फ्रेमवर्क लॉन्च किया है। भारत सरकार ने आगामी 5 वर्षों में देश की सभी पंचायतों और गांवों को कवर करने के लक्ष्य से नए बहुउद्देशीय पैक्स, डेयरी, फिशरीज सहकारी समितियां स्थापित करने की योजना को अनुमोदित किया है। सहकारिता मंत्रालय देश में सहकारी आंदोलन को सशक्त करने और उसकी पहुंच जमीनी स्तर तक पहुंचाने तथा रोजगार सृजन, सामाजिक सुरक्षा और जमीनी स्तर पर आर्थिक भागीदारी के साधन के रूप में सहकारी समितियों को सशक्त बनाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। अंत में मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि इस राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन से राष्ट्रीय सहकारिता नीति 2025 के प्रभावी एवं समयबद्ध कार्यान्वयन में सहायता मिलेगी और सहकारिता क्षेत्र के आप सभी हितधारक लाभान्वित हो और देश में सहकारी आंदोलन को सशक्त करने में सक्रिय भूमिका निभाएं। मैं भविष्य में राष्ट्रीय सहकारिता नीति 2025 के अन्य महत्वपूर्ण अनुशंसाओं पर भी ऐसे कार्यक्रम मंत्रालय और त्रिभुवन सहकारी यूनिवर्सिटी द्वारा आयोजित किए जाएंगे, ऐसी उम्मीद करता हूं। इस सम्मेलन में पहुंचने पर एक बार पुनः आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
माननीय जी, आपके प्रेरक विचारोत्तेजक और मार्गदर्शी स्पेशल एड्रेस के लिए आपका हृदय से धन्यवाद। आपके एड्रेस ने आज के कन्क्लेव को नई दिशा, ऊर्जा और उद्देश्य प्रदान किया है। इसके लिए हम सभी आभारी हैं। अब हम लोग चाय के लिए ब्रेक करेंगे और 11 बजे पुनः इसी हॉल में इकट्ठा होंगे, जिसमें 3 स्पेशल लेक्चर ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया है। आप सभी चाय के लिए आमंत्रित हैं। थैंक यू। जय हिंद।
All are requested to please sit down, please. Professor Mahendra Dev will be coming shortly. We'll be having the section. Yes, sir. So please come, sir. We are requesting everybody, please be seated.
Good morning, everyone. The delegates are requested to occupy their seats. Please do occupy your seats. May I request all the distinguished delegates to kindly take their seats. We need to begin the expert lecture soon. Good morning once again. We now move to an important segment of today's conclave, the expert lecture series. And these expert lectures have been designed to bring a strategic depth to the deliberations by engaging some of the most important questions before us. These lectures will help us to reflect the economic, institutional, and technological pathways through which National Cooperative Policy 2025 has to be translated into meaningful and durable outcomes. We'll begin with the first expert lecture of the day. It is my privilege to invite Professor S. Mahendra Dev Ji, Chairman, Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, to deliver his lecture on strategies for tripling the contribution of cooperative sector in the Indian economy. Professor Dev is one of India's most distinguished economists. He has served as Director and Vice Chancellor of the Indira Gandhi Institute for Development Research and also a Chairman of the Commission for Agriculture Costs and Prices. His contribution to development economics, agriculture policy, poverty, employment, and inclusive growth have been widely recognized in India and internationally. Professor Dev, may I request you to respectfully requesting you to deliver your lecture. Since we have already lost some time, we would request you to kindly deliver within 35 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Sri Satish Marathe, Dr. Ashik Kumar Bhutani, and all the esteemed participants. Good morning. So it's an honor and privilege to speak today on the subject that lies at the heart of India's inclusive growth story, the cooperative sector. So first I compliment the Cooperative Ministry for organizing this important national conclave. It's timely. And so before going to the contribution of cooperatives to economic growth, I would like to spend a few minutes on India's economic growth because cooperatives is part of the Indian economy and you can't dissociate with the overall what is happening in the Indian economy. So if you see so I'll talk briefly past, present and the future economic growth. If you see the, even 1700 AD, the India's share in world GDP was 25%. And because of Industrial Revolution in 1850s, and then at the time of independence, we were all socialists that time, so we didn't have many policies for improving growth. And so in the first, the share of India's GDP came down at the time of independence about 4%, from 25% to 4%. And then we had a growth rate of 3.5% for almost 3 to 4 decades in India. Then we had liberalization, of course, 1991. In the post-liberalization, 6 to 6.5% growth we had. Why I'm telling this? Because some people ask me, sir, you are saying India is now the 4th largest economy in the world, but the per capita income is still low. So we lost 4 decades in the first, from 1950s to almost 80s. We missed 2 chances. One, at the time of independence, we didn't have, labor-intensive manufacturing, and also focus on health and education was also less. And we were late by liberalization about 15 years compared to East Asia. Other countries started, China and all started in 1978, in 1970s. So to make up that, we have to grow much faster. So the Prime Minister has given, this Viksit Bharat goal of, having $30 trillion by 1947 and per capita developed country status. So what are the sources of achieving this growth? Because it's also useful for cooperatives to have, what are the sources for growth. So first one is investment rate has to be increased, because we are about 31-32% investment rate. So that has to be increased to 34% to get 7 to 8% growth continuously till 2047. So that is important. But there, the government is increasing capital expenditure in the budgets, but we need to increase the private investment. So many people come to me, industrialists and all, so I ask them, why are you not investing? So they say uncertainty and all. But I told them, you are saying for the last a decade uncertainty, and uncertainty will be there in future also. So one has to invest now because they are having a lot of cash. So it is need for them to invest the private capital so that it can be, growth can be higher. And the second major driver is the exports, because no country achieved 7 to 8% growth without export growth. It is true that we can't be like China. I mean, export growth, that time globalization was quite good, three decades. But now a lot of protection is there. So we have to work within this framework. And India, the tariff shock, we have withstood that. And then now FTAs, we are doing a lot of FTAs so that we can have much more exports from, also even from MSMEs. The other, these are the two main, investment rate, exports. And what are the other sources of growth? Of course, human capital, technology, including AI, can also increase growth. And we are, our demographic dividend also can be, our average median age is 28 years. Compared to other countries, 40 years, 50 years, China, US and all. So that will have advantage with, of course, skills and others have to be improved. And other growth is the urbanization is increasing. So because urbanization will have higher per capita income, so it may go to 50% urbanization in future. And also women's participation rates, we are about 35% the labor force participation rates. World average is 50%. So if we can increase to 50%, then it will be, we can increase growth. Lastly, on the economy, Structural transformation is also important, from agriculture to manufacturing and to services, because that we have not done labor-intensive manufacturing since independence. So that needs to have increase. But on the other hand, it doesn't mean we neglect agriculture. Because, see, manufacturing now, there's a lot of production, but in spite of that, we need to have, many countries want to produce manufacturing in their own countries now, unlike earlier. So the Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned from the Red Fort, we should have domestic reforms, the Atmanirbhar Bharat and Swadeshi. It doesn't mean we are going back to import substitution. Swadeshi doesn't mean. What he says is that competitiveness should be increased so that we can, quality of the product should be high, and so that we can export the quality products. So coming to agriculture, you know, we have agriculture contributes 17% of GDP and 46% of employment. So that is more livelihoods are important. I mean, we have done green revolution and all, but there are problems with the green revolution because of, you know, the groundwater problems and soil quality problems and all. And also from production approach, we should move to, you know, post-harvest approach. Particularly three things are important: focusing on post-harvest and marketing. You know, we have to go beyond farming, develop value chain comprising farming, wholesaling, and logistics. And second, food processing is very important, food and agro processing. Third is the small farmers need help in input and output marketing. We require FPOs and cooperatives for organizing them, because small farmers with 2-3 bags and all, they can't, you know, bargain in the marketing. And also role of women is increasing in agriculture. So they are also, you know, doing processing and other things. So to conclude on Viksit Bharat, we come back to India's share in world GDP. Some estimates show by 2047, in PPP terms, PPP means purchasing power parity terms, India will achieve by 25% by that time, which is a great achievement. And China's will be 18% and US maybe 12% or so. In PPP terms means purchasing power parity terms. So that's why we have to do a lot of work to get that way. Now coming to the cooperatives, as you know, India has more than 100 years of history in cooperatives. In fact, Cooperative Credit Societies Act 1914 was the first formal step by the British government. So, and we have you know, we have come a long way in cooperatives. And as mentioned by the Secretary and others, the National Cooperative Policy underscores the critical importance of a comprehensive and forward-looking cooperative framework in India's development trajectory. So with over 8.44 lakh cooperatives and more than 30 crore members, the cooperative sector already represents one of the largest people-led economic movements globally, and particularly impacting rural livelihoods and grassroots economic participation. So the cooperation policy is therefore significant as it provides a strategic roadmap for revitalizing and modernizing this vast ecosystem, and aligning with the Prime Minister's vision of Sahkar Se Samruddhi and the broad goal of achieving Viksit Bharat 2047. So the policy seeks to transform cooperatives into professionally managed, transparent, technology-driven, and financially empowered economic entities, thereby enhancing their productivity and competitiveness. It also emphasizes inclusive growth by ensuring participation of women, youth, and marginalized communities. So how do we achieve this, you know, cooperatives, a triple of its contribution to GDP by, you know, next decade or more? They are uniquely positioned to combine economic efficiency with social equity, enabling millions of citizens, particularly in rural and semi-urban areas. So the objective before us is ambitious yet achievable to triple the contribution of cooperative sector to India's economy. But it requires the comprehensive reimagining of how cooperatives are measured, governed, financed, and integrated into value chains. So at the outset, the most critical step is to establish a clear and credible baseline. The secretary was telling me that they are starting this baseline of the cooperative sector's contribution. So at present, the absence of a formal accounting framework limits our ability to measure its economic impact. Therefore, it is imperative to develop a cooperative gross value added account aligned with national accounts, enabling systematic measurement of output, value addition, employment, productivity. So all these things are important for estimating the value added of GDP of cooperative sector. And members' incomes of both national and state levels. So without such baseline, policy formulation remains fragmented and outcomes difficult to evaluate. Closely linked to this is the need of robust data systems. While initiatives such as the National Cooperative Database have been valuable, they remain largely structural in nature. Economic, financial, and performance-related data are often incomplete, inconsistent, and not updated uniformly across cooperatives. So leveraging initiatives like the computerization of PACs can provide deeper insights into balance sheets at the grassroots level. So this will not only enhance transparency, but also enable real-time monitoring and better policy targeting. Building on this, we must develop a common core of high-frequency indicators for this endeavor to track value creation within the cooperative sector. So traditional matrices alone are insufficient. Instead, indicators such as number of active transacting members, transaction volumes, income enhancement, and cost efficiency should be systematically tracked. Federations and apex cooperative bodies can play a crucial role in aggregating and validating such data, thereby creating a reliable and dynamic information ecosystem. So the strategic focus of cooperatives must also undergo a paradigm shift for mere service delivery to sustained value creation. So this involves increasing value added for cooperatives per member and per unit of output. So achieving this requires scale, formalization, and productivity enhancement. So cooperatives must evolve into competitive economic entities capable of generating surplus and reinvesting in growth. So one of the most effective pathways for value enhancement is enabling cooperatives to move up the value chain. Traditionally, many cooperatives have been confined to primary activities. However, significant value lies in downstream activities such as grading, sorting, processing, packaging, branding, and exports. So sectors such as dairy, fisheries, agro-processing, and organic products offer immense potential. So the development of cooperative clusters, infrastructure networks, and district-specific export action plans can further strengthen this transition. In parallel, there is a strong case for transforming primary cooperatives into multi-purpose local economic platforms. So by integrating credit, storage, warehousing, processing, input supply, retail, and services, so cooperatives can become one-stop economic hubs at the local level. Standardized business models and cluster-based approaches will be critical in ensuring scalability and also efficiency. So a key enabler across all these dimensions is digitization, which the Cooperative Ministry is also focusing. So digital technologies can act as powerful multipliers of both productivity and governance, and real-time accounting systems, timely audits, member-level transaction records, and inventory management can significantly improve operation efficiency. So beyond basic digitalization, the adoption of advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, big data analytics, and blockchain can revolutionize the cooperative ecosystem. I know these things take time, but I think we have to start to do these technology issues. So establishing a shared e-commerce platform will enable cooperatives to collectively market and sell their products and services, expand reach beyond local markets, and enhance brand visibility while also improving transparency in pricing and supply chain management. So as we look to the future, it is equally important to expand the cooperative model into emerging sectors. Renewable energy, green hydrogen, waste management, circular economy activities, logistics, urban services like taxi services, and digital commerce represent new frontiers of growth. So cooperatives with their community-centric approach are ideally suited to drive these sectors in an inclusive and sustainable manner. So such an approach would not only diversify the cooperative ecosystem, but also future-proof it against changing economic dynamics. Sustainability must also be embedded because Viksit Bharat has three objectives. One is growth, second is inclusive, and third, sustainability. So in cooperatives also we should have these objectives because sustainability is important if you want to have sustainable growth or environmentally sustainable one. So by adopting environmental, social and governance, ESG practices, and advancing circular economy solutions, cooperatives can align themselves with national and global sustainability goals. So the intercooperation and sectoral integration can further enhance economies of scale and strengthen value chains. Equally important is the need to strengthen governance and professionalism because one of the important key things for enhancing growth and value added is the governance systems. We have to professionalize them. Maybe Sri Marathe will speak more on this governance and other things. So timely elections, a clear separation of ownership and management, professional recruitment, and many things are needed for good governance. And also good governance index can help benchmark performance, identify gaps, and drive continuous improvement. Like Niti Aayog is giving indices at state level and all. So that kind of governance index will be useful. Access to finance remains a critical constraint for many cooperatives. So therefore, the cooperative financing architecture must be reoriented toward enterprise growth. This includes facilitating access to working capital, long-term infrastructure finance, because I visited many of the cooperatives, for example, even fishing cooperatives in Kerala and others. So one of the things is the working capital. They're saying 60% of the working capital they get from money lenders. So how to improve the working capital for them is important. So in this context, strengthening the institutional framework of cooperative finance is vital. So the vision of one district central cooperative bank in every district and one urban cooperative bank in every urban center can ensure a robust financial backbone. And the other thing is harmonization of Cooperative Act rule procedures. That's also important. I'm not going to elaborate on this. And also define and develop dedicated cooperative infrastructure. So there is an urgent need to develop dedicated infrastructure to support cooperative networks, clusters, and economic zones, creating an enabling environment that strengthens core activities of the cooperatives. Equally important is a strategic focus on market expansion and exports, also important. And the cooperative HR and capacity building, I already mentioned, which is important because without better leadership, you can't go faster. So finally, to ensure accountability and policy credibility, there must be a robust system of monitoring and evaluation. So a transparent scorecard covering the gross value-added growth, value-added output, member incomes, digital adoption, governance quality, and financial health can provide a comprehensive view of progress. So such a framework will enable evidence-based policy making and foster a culture of performance and accountability. So to conclude, the journey towards tripling the contribution of the cooperative sector is not a linear one. It has to grow faster, non-linear model. It requires a coordinated action across multiple dimensions, and it demands a shift from fragmentation to integration, from opacity to transparency, from subsistence to enterprise, and from isolation to global competitiveness. On the contribution of cooperatives to tripling its contribution to GDP, as I mentioned, baseline is important. Then we can have a group to work on how to make this achievement of tripling the GDP, which we can do also with MOSPI and other agencies and other organizations, ministries and states. So the cooperative movement in India has a rich legacy rooted in principles of mutual aid, democratic governance, and community empowerment. Today we stand at a critical juncture where this legacy must be reimagined for the 21st century, because they're not the 20th century cooperatives, but 21st century cooperatives. So with the right policies, institutions, and leadership, cooperatives can become powerful engines of inclusive growth and sustainable. So let's therefore commit ourselves to building a cooperative ecosystem that is modern, competitive, resilient, and inclusive, an ecosystem that not only contributes to economic growth, but also strengthens the social fabric of our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful and thought-provoking lecture. Your reflection have set a strong strategic context to the next session. Now it's a time to move to the next expert lecture. It is my privilege to invite Sri Satish Marathe, Director, the Central Board of the Reserve Bank of India, to deliver his lecture on delivering a vibrant ecosystem for the growth and development of cooperative business by promoting a self-sustainable business support system. Sri Marathe brings exceptional experience from both the banking and cooperative sectors. He has served as chairman of and CEO of the United Western Bank Limited, led Janakalyan Sanskari Bank Limited during a decade of strong growth, and he is also a co-founder of Sahakar Bharati, one of country's most influential cooperative organization. His experience brings together banking regulation, institutional development, and deep engagement with the cooperative movement. So, your lecture, please.
Distinguished participants and guests, at the outset, I thank the Ministry of Cooperation and the Tribhuvan University for giving me an opportunity to share my views. To begin with, I shall list out the 6 pillars which form the foundation of our national cooperative policy. All of you must be knowing it, but for the cause of repetition, even at the cost of repetition, I am saying, strengthening the foundation of our cooperatives. We have something like 8 lakh plus cooperatives, of which 4.5 to 4.75 lakhs are directly engaged in some form or the other economic activity. So strengthening this foundation is one of the main pillars. Then, even though we have a strong network, this network is not necessarily as vibrant as it could be. So promoting vibrancy in this existing setup is the second pillar. Third is preparing the cooperatives to be future ready. And with this, simultaneously, we have to ensure inclusion and reaching out to the last man. Third point, the fifth point is the cooperatives today are restricted in a few sectors. There are several new emerging sectors and new areas where cooperatives can be formed. And the sixth is creating a huge base of professionals who would be able to manage India's cooperative movement, which is the biggest in the world today, not only by way of numbers, but also by way of membership, which is plus 30 crores. Now, this is the background of the National Cooperative Policy's 6 pillars. Here I would like to add 3 more distinct features of the cooperative which are often not discussed or mentioned. Number 1, according to me, is it's a distinct form of ownership which is not necessarily recognized. If you talk to institute like chartered accountants, they call it institutions not for profit. They group it under institutions not for profit. It's not true. Cooperatives generate surplus, generate profit, and what they do is, after paying a reasonable return on the risk capital that the shareholders provide, they plow back the entire surplus, thereby promoting formation of social capital. Now, this aspect also is not often recognized by the policymakers or the administration when we are thinking of cooperatives as a whole. To begin with, let me say that the cooperative policy which has been formulated, I think it's an ideal one. It shows, it gives us a roadmap for future growth and development of the cooperatives. But here I would like to honestly make a mention which many a times when we are formulating policies relating to the cooperatives, 2 major decisions or guidelines enunciated by the United Nations in 2001 and the ILO recommendation 198. Now, these 2 are really the guiding principles for any country, any government or anybody, those who want to decide about the formation of cooperatives and enactment of cooperative law. These 2 guidelines, United Nations guidelines of 2001 and ILO recommendation 198, also provide about what could be the role of the state in supporting the growth of the cooperative movement. They have extensively dealt with it, and it says that by providing legal and financial empowerment, the governments can do a lot for the cooperative sector. Similarly, they can also by policy initiatives provide level playing field, provide institutional framework which is necessary for registration, and provide prudential regulation and focused supervision. Now, these are going to be, I feel, that really would be the future for making an implementable process for a new national cooperative policy. When we are talking of the challenges before the cooperative sector, there are many, but to begin with, I would start with inadequate mobilization of resources by the cooperatives is the biggest hindrance in today's context. Member participation through contribution to share capital is very negligible, and this is not enough for a cooperative to sustain its business on a scale that it can really handle. So we have to find out new ways and means so that the cooperatives are able to mobilize resources for conducting its own operations. Number two, there is a thinking amongst the cooperatives which has to be given up that for everything the government has to support. Dependence on government by the cooperatives has also been one of the reasons why the growth has been limited and has not been uniform. Second aspect is the institutional support which is necessary, as Professor Mahendra Dev ji just mentioned, that institutional support to the cooperatives is lacking in our country. It's not there, absolutely. We need structures, we need institutions which will help the cooperatives in formulate their business plans, their technology induction programs, and also create a structure whereby they can provide a panel of managers, officers, which can be inducted in the cooperative institutions. Another area which we strongly feel is necessary is that, keeping in mind the new national cooperative policy, many state governments have also now started formulating their policies. To my knowledge, Goa government has announced its policy, Sikkim has announced, Madhya Pradesh was in the process, I am not sure whether it has still been announced or not. Maharashtra is in the process of formulating the policy. But together with the policy, what is necessary for the cooperatives to grow is enabling changes in the Cooperative Act by itself. Without the change in the Cooperative Acts, the cooperative sector will really not take off as we really wish that it should happen. One of the objectives of the national cooperative policies and almost all state cooperative policies which have come up is that the involvement of youth and women have to increase in the functioning of the cooperatives. The youth of our country today is aspirational, and with lot of restrictions and lot of inhibitions, he would not be easily attracted to this sector unless there are legal changes keeping with the broad national objectives of our cooperative policies. As far as the capital base is concerned, raising of capital, this is also a very serious impediment in the growth of the cooperatives. Recently, at the Asia Pacific Conference of the International Cooperative Alliance, I was invited to speak on the subject as to how cooperatives can raise a capital, and I had the occasion to submit a paper on ways and means to increase the capital. Bhutani Sahab, I will share that copy with you. It can be examined. Not all things can happen immediately, but over a period of time we can start thinking on that. This is very necessary because cooperatives are necessary. As I was mentioning, that the Cooperative Act has to have enabling provisions. I have been making a plea at different levels that the Cooperative Acts should enable a cooperative society to float a 100% owned SPV or 100% owned company, so that they are able to access the capital market, raise funds, and plow them back in the working of the cooperative. The under the Companies Act, a producer company's provision exists, but hardly anybody has taken advantage of that. And I feel it should not, cooperators need to be sensitized on that score, because cooperative capital is not needed only by banks and financial institutions, but also we have a lot of cooperatives engaged in processing, manufacturing of ethanol these days and a variety of other products which also need substantial capital. So capital mobilization, long-term funds is possible. Redeemable, irredeemable bonds can be issued, and to augment that, because that is the margin on the basis of which a cooperative can raise further finances. One more area which is critical for the growth of the cooperative sector is that our approach towards regulation has to be prudential. It needs to be, and supervision needs to be focused. Just as Reserve Bank has classified certain institutions and banks as systematically important institutions. Likewise, though we have 8 lakh cooperative societies, we should be able to shortlist a few hundred systematically important institutions so that the supervision is focused and we get a better result from their working. This is very necessary, and this will create ease in operations for the cooperative sector. Another suggestion which has often come up during the discussions amongst the cooperators is that the registrar's office, both at the center and the state, should function as if it is on the lines of the registrar of companies. Here again, I would also like to mention that wherever a cooperative society has taken any assistance, whether it is loan, whether it is working capital, guarantees, co-acceptances, anything, then regulation of such societies could be a little different from those societies which have absolutely not availed any assistance from the government, and that should help the cooperatives substantially. There is also a very old case decided by Supreme Court years back that wherever the government shareholding is more than 51%, it will have every right to intervene and direct the guidelines of that particular cooperatives. Whether it should be 51 or whatever, but since the court has decided it is 51, today it becomes the law of the land. But then we can devise it, think of it, and wherever there is state support, regulation would be more focused. I accept that. But otherwise, we don't have to do it. It should be done as people's contribution running their own institutions. The last portion which I would like to concentrate is about the decision of the Government of India to set up our more than 2 lakh cooperatives in areas of packs, fisheries and dairies. It's a very welcome decision. In one of the papers presented by Professor Ramesh Chand, a member of Niti Aayog and who is member agriculture, he has brought out very clearly that the rural income pattern has completely changed in the last 15-20 years. Today, agriculture and allied agricultural income is just 35 to 40%, and whereas non-farm income is between 60 and 65%. Since this has happened, it's very appropriate that we are converting our primary agricultural societies and are converting our primary milk societies into multi-purpose societies. This is necessary because 60 to 65% income being generated by non-farm income in rural areas needs capital, needs financial support, and this is not forthcoming. A committee of the Government of India, of which I was also a member, and whether it debated whether there should be a 3-tier structure or a 2-tier structure, we have clearly brought out that in large states, it should be 3-tier structure. And we have also, during the course of deliberations and study, it was noted that the delivery of credit by cooperatives to the last man is the cheapest through the cooperative sector than any other form of sector. Now, this has been disputed by some, but if necessary, it can be further studied. But that's the information and the basis on which we have made the recommendations which we received. Today, there is a thinking that if non-farm activity is growing in the urban center, are we moving away from financing the agricultural sector? It's not so. It is the relatives, friends, associates of the farmer himself who is now engaging in the non-farm activities and supplementing the income of the families of the farmer. This aspect should be clearly understood. And it should also be understood that the dependence of the farmer only on agriculture to that extent is getting substantially reduced. So providing credit to the non-farm sector by the PACs is very important. And in this context, I have been pleading and I have been suggesting that a new business plan completely out of box is necessary for district central cooperative banks and state cooperative banks if we have to meet the targets of becoming Atmanirbhar Bharat by 2047. India's history clearly shows that whenever the flow of institutional credit has grown, and that has happened primarily after 91, the growth rates have increased substantially. And if we have to continue the growth trajectory that we are now and to excel on it, currently we should be hovering around 7%. Even for this March, I believe it will be about 7%, not less than 7%. If we have to increase this trajectory to 8.5%, 9%, the flow of credit in rural sector is very much important. In this context, I would also like to mention two things in particular. One, on the lines of what was recommended years back by eminent economist Khushro committee, that Deposit Insurance Corporation should be set up separately for all cooperatives engaged in thrift and credit society, in thrift and credit. When I say that, I don't include only PACs and credit societies. There are several other multi-purpose societies which are also engaging in thrift and credit. A nominal deposit cover to begin with would also be welcome. Say even 50,000 on the basis of norms. If we are able to do it, there could be 2 or 3 cascading effects to it. The dependence of PACs on DCCBs for lending to farmers would get reduced. The dependence on DCCBs on state cooperative banks could also be reduced, and the dependence on NABARD could also be reduced of the rural cooperative delivery mechanism. This is necessary. It will add to efficiency, and it will also ensure the stake of because PACS is member, it's only the members who can accept. If depositors are there in the society, the vigilance on the working of the society would also increase to a great extent, and the management could also be equally accountable. Similarly, if deposit insurance becomes, if they avail of Deposit Insurance Corporation cover, they would in their own way become a regulated entity and subjected to guidance and overall supervision. So Deposit Insurance Corporation, I urge this august body and the Ministry of Cooperation to undertake a study and constitute a committee to implement this recommendation of, not of mine, but it's of economist Dr. Khushro, and implement it in a big way, because I believe personally lakhs of crores of rupees are out of organized financial system in our country even today. The branch network is just 2 lakhs of all banks put together, and it's not a big number for a large country like us, because we have something like odd 7.5 lakh villages and hamlets, and 2 lakhs doesn't help us. With optical fiber network having reached more than 2 lakh gram panchayats today, it's quite possible that if we are able to strengthen the working of the packs, if we are able to help them raise resources, if we are able to bring in better administration and supervision, formalization of economic activity in the rural area will be greatly increased, and that by itself can add anything between 2.5 to 3% to our growth rate. That's an estimate. It will have to be checked out, but an estimate shows that at least 2 to 2.5% it will give rise to the GDP growth in our country. Currently, about annually 3 lakh crores are, I would say, disbursed as short-term credit mainly in the rural areas for agricultural activities. If all the 2 lakh and 2.5 lakh gram panchayats where we propose to have our packs or fisheries or our dairy societies, the flow of credit could easily be anything between 7.5 to 8 lakh crores annually, and that itself would be a very substantial number to which we should seriously look into it. Another aspect which we are already working, and it should be quickly as far as possible implemented, is linking our packs and primary dairy societies to begin with our payment gateways. That is necessary, and it is possible to do it either through the DCCBs or through the RRBs, where DCCBs do not exist, because we have something like 350 DCCBs as against 750 districts. These 350 DCCBs serve about 500 districts today. So linking packs, linking primary milk societies to the payment gateway, since optical fiber network has reached a vast area of our country, should help us in a big way. Likewise, before I conclude, I would like to mention some new emerging areas which are possible where we should do substantial. Number one, for a country of our size, consumer cooperatives are very few, and it is very necessary that we should have a strong network of consumer cooperatives. You go to any developed country, whether it is Japan, you go to US, UK, West Europe, anywhere, even in parts of South America, we notice that there is a very strong network of consumer cooperatives. These consumer cooperatives are a big buffer against profiteering and hoarding. With fair trade practices, they also hold the price line in case of crises. In our country, the consumer cooperatives had not really succeeded, mainly because the patronage from the people has been not enough. Number two, they are short of financial resources to conduct their operations. And three, they do a lot of work and they do not necessarily specialize in providing services. All the same, as a country, we need a big chain of consumer cooperatives if we have to ensure that the common citizens of our country are not exploited. Another area which is very necessary is the housing cooperatives. House for everybody is our national objective, and today we find that providing houses in rural areas and providing finance for rural housing has become a big challenge. There are hardly any people who would finance rural construction of houses in rural areas. Just as on the lines of National Housing Bank, we should persuade the National Housing Bank to accept as their MLIs cooperative institutions so that they can, through them, route rural finance, and housing has to be a priority area for us. Similarly, it is high time that is necessary that cooperatives themselves can raise deposits, can raise capital, and extend housing finance limits. Such societies successfully functioned in Maharashtra for years, particularly in Vidarbha region, and even today they are functioning. But these days, registration of such societies has been stopped, and as a consequence, no more such new societies are there. So we need such cooperative societies which accept deposits from their members, fund creation of housing cooperatives, and in the process promote housing. Affordable housing is at a disadvantage, and today what we need is a proper support for it. Housing cooperatives can, with proper support, they can do it, I feel. Electricity distribution is an area where the cooperatives can do a lot of things. Our whole trouble in the electricity area has been distribution and recovery of electricity charges. If cooperatives are formed at a local level and that of engineers in particular, and they are given a distinct responsibility, I believe this will help the recovery of electricity dues and also provide gainful employment opportunities to our engineers and youth. Just as Mahendra Devji spoke, I have also to suggest two more areas, particularly that is of agro-processing. We have been concentrating on production more, and today if you take any agricultural produce, we are generally amongst the top 5 in the country. A time has now come when we have to concentrate on post-harvesting. One of the studies brought out by the Niti Aayog shows that an equal amount that is paid to a farmer as MSP is spent on warehousing, transportation and wastage. So warehousing aspect has been addressed by the massive warehousing initiative taken by the Ministry of Cooperation through PACS. But post-harvest activity we need to promote on a big scale. I believe the present guidelines for FPO have not delivered us results despite a gap. Now it's in force for almost 5 to 6 years and more. What we need for the agro-processing industry is something like a structure which is in the dairy sector. It's a two-tier structure. Primary level, the milk is collected, made cold, and then the district union collects it where the processing, packaging, marketing, branding takes place. Similar activity has to take place in the area of agro-processing. And when I say agro-processing, I am talking of vegetables and fruits also. Recently, when I was in Jharkhand for organizational work, I read an advertisement in a local newspaper which said, we have enough vegetables in Jharkhand which can meet the entire requirements of West Bengal. I do not know how far it is true and correct. But then if Jharkhand has such potentiality, unless we do something, the poverty cannot be addressed. We need to concentrate on agro-processing. And this is one area. Primary level agro-processing models have now to be created at different states and also at the center level. Two areas which are very important is tourism. There are hardly any tourism cooperatives in the country. If you look to Italy, maximum number of cooperatives relating to tourism activity are in Italy today. We don't have to go to Italy to study them. We have the potential for creating massive infrastructure, creating a large number of tourism cooperatives, because with Incredible India campaign that has been launched for many years now, there are people who are willing to go. There are people who are willing to travel. But we need to provide them supportive services. This itself can give employment to a very large number of our youth, and it should help in generating a lot of business. Transport is one area today which has been totally neglected, to use the word harshly, but it is a complete failure in most of our large cities and major states. It is because of this failure of public transport, we see clutter of cars and two-wheelers on the road, and then there are continuous traffic jams. If we are able to improve public transport owned by cooperatives, I think we should be solving both the necessity and also provide youth employment, and also help the state not to spend excessively on an area which is service oriented and which the cooperative sector can give. There is a transport cooperative, one in Karnataka, and I believe some 50 or 60 PhDs have been done in that state. But nothing much has happened, and I think it should be amplified across the country. It is a successful model when I had visited that entity a few years back, and I feel that transport cooperatives across country should help in improving public transport, and cooperatives can play a very meaningful role. Last, because there is a separate session on credit cooperatives and banking, I would not speak much on it, but certainly I would like to mention two things before I conclude. We have just 1,420 urban cooperative banks in the country, and about 1,100 plus are concentrated in 3 states, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Rest of the states have very small number of cooperatives. Maybe Tamil Nadu has some 100 banks or something, but others are in double digit only. Apart from metropolitan cities that are coming up, apart from the metropolitan cities and Tier 2, Tier 3 and Tier 4 cities are coming up in a big number across the country. About 1,000 Tier 3 cities are coming up across the country, that's an estimate, and about 100 Tier 2 cities are coming up today in the country. Now for these growing urban centers, we need cooperative credit institutions in this place. We need urban cooperative banks in a large numbers, because even today in big cities like Mumbai and Delhi, you will easily find places where there is not a branch within a radius of 2 kilometers. It's a reality across the country. We need small, strong, financially strong and well-managed, vibrant urban cooperative banks, and I believe for a country of our size, we should have at least another 1,500 urban cooperative banks. Some may feel that I am being unrealistic, because in last 20 years, Reserve Bank has not sanctioned even a single urban cooperative bank I know. Yet I am mentioning, looking to the international experience, the number of banks that even small countries have, we need many more urban cooperative banks in the country. Similarly, there is a need for creating a proper, I would say, network of credit cooperative societies in urban areas. They are today concentrated mainly in 4 or 5 states, Karnataka, Gujarat, Maharashtra, to some extent in Rajasthan, and very few in some other states. But the credit cooperative societies are akin to NBFCs. They do para-banking. And we should not discourage them. We need to support them because they meet the requirement at the, what shall I say, at the most local level. And they meet the requirements of small people. These cooperatives have substantially contributed on 3 aspects: credit cooperatives and urban bank. 1, they have kept the money lenders away. Number 2, they have provided small loans, working capital and term loans to self-employed and generated income earning opportunities in lakhs. This aspect has never been taken into account when we have been formulating the policies, and this aspect is very much necessary. So also, they have also helped in mobilizing huge funds. What is necessary is that we have, as I mentioned, prudential regulation and focused supervision on the financial sector of the cooperative sector. If we are able to concentrate on these aspects, I believe that the cooperative sector can be vibrant. They will enter into new areas with proper enabling legal environment and proper infrastructure for financing them. And we introduce processes for helping them to raise adequate capital. This will help us in a big way. About professionalization, we have already started taking steps. The NCCT has been doing good work for some time now. The Tribhuvan University has started, and I believe in the next few years we'll have its good impact, and we'll have professional managers in these places. Governance is most important. I'm not speaking on that score because others will speak or we'll have separate station on that. But governance can be improved only we have strict regulation in place. With this, I conclude my observations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your comprehensive lecture. Your remarks have drawn attention to the enabling ecosystem that cooperative enterprise requires if it is to become a more resilient, credible, and self-sustaining institutions. Thank you, sir. So now the next lecture is by Dr. Pramod Kumar Maharada, IAS Additional Secretary, Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Dr. Maharada is a senior administrator with wide experience in both states and central government. He currently handles several important national responsibilities, including digital agriculture, farmers welfare, PM Fasal Bima Yojana, horticulture, international cooperation, and PM Kisan, of which he is the Chief Executive Officer. His experience places him at the center of India's efforts to strengthen agriculture through policy, technology, and institutional reforms. May I now request Dr. Mukesh Kumar, Director Policy, to felicitate Dr. Maharada. Sir, may I request for your lecture on cooperative stack and data-driven decision-making in the cooperative sector. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, good afternoon to all the esteemed participants today and experts on various issues relating to the cooperative ecosystem. And I'm sure since morning we have been discussing more about the economics of cooperatives and the ecosystem that I was just hearing about, and also strategies for, I see, on tripling the contribution of the cooperative sector. Now, how do we do that is also is a question. Obviously, there are policy issues. There are reforms that certainly Ministry of Cooperation is taking up. But in today's digital age, is there something that we can do for creating an environment, digital ecosystem where we do not depend upon silos in which we are creating digital systems today? Yes, the answer is yes, we can do that, and the motivation comes from many other digital public infrastructures that we have created and built in our country, starting from Aadhaar, then UPI, and the latest that in the ministry that we are doing, the AgriStack. So basically, digital public infrastructure, just for initiating the discussion, is nothing but a simple thing when one understands the difference between the databases and the registries. A simple thing. But creating it is a difficult thing. Understanding is simple, which means if we are to create registries and not databases, then we have to have standards, protocols, and the regulatory systems, etc., around the foundational data that we create for any organization, any institution, or any set of people. So in AgriStack, if you've heard about, in agriculture, we have created AgriStack where we are linking the farmers' details, authenticated details. That's the protocol. Authenticated details with the land records, the digitized land records of the states, which can be verified, and then linking these digitized land records to the farmer's details. Also then collecting the assets of the farmer dynamically over seasons, crops. There are 3 seasons, so in 3 seasons we collect crop sown data, and then we also link it with the livestock, Pashudhan, the fisheries, Matsya Palan, and everything that the farmer has assets. Now, what does that do is that it by itself is nothing, but it's a foundational layer which then enables a lot of innovations in the system, also in improving transparency and efficiency in delivery and ease of life for the farmer, because he doesn't have to prove himself again and again in the system that he is the one who is applying for it, he is the one who has all these assets, and that these assets are actually authenticated and verifiable. On the same basis, can we create a cooperative stack is the question today. Now, before I delve into that, we all know that India's this revolution, the quiet revolution, has been there for decades now, and even before the startups, before the cooperative, before other systems came in, we had a very robust, go back please. We had a robust system where there was a very vibrant cooperative rural economy, and we have seen white revolution, we have seen credit revolution, we have seen in crafts and handloom also, the cooperatives, they pooled their products. So that pooling of the products and making it transparent, and then bargaining power, and then and the traceability in the system, somehow it was done and ensured also, but all of that was paper-based. Now, there's something that happened in between, which was the Amul, coming in of Amul, which, and today, what I am trying to describe Amul is not in the sense of business, but see what Amul actually did. Amul actually gave local ownership, which means the farmers owned the chain. There was a transparent pricing, there was a democratic governance, and there was a federated scale, which means The village societies were then amalgamated, then district unions were formed, national federations were formed, and each one of them knew their roles, what was their role and their information, and everything when it was transparent and trust-based, then that is how it could scale up because of that architecture. So Amul's genius was not commercial, it was architectural design. So can we implement the same architecture in digital systems in cooperative is what is the cooperative stack is all about. But before that, we need to know about 3 deficits which today we see in the cooperative systems and because of which the India's, and that is because of India's digital economy, because we have gone ahead with DPIs and many other systems have started doing that, banks have started using them. So one is that visibility. Now visibility means that many things, if they are on paper, then they are not visible, obviously. But suppose we create also digital systems. So these could be core banking solutions, or it could be our ERPs or other systems that we create. There the credit histories are not known. The systems are there, but you cannot see the credit histories. You cannot see the people actually, you cannot trace it back, and there is no trust in the systems. So that is, the visibility is not there, they are not connected to each other, and you cannot trail it. There cannot be audit trail or traceability in the system because there are no foundational layers, because I cannot reach up to the member who is there of that cooperative society. So these 3 do lack today. So, and because of these 3, we have realized, cooperative systems have also realized over the system when the digital economy was actually taking shape, and they have built a lot of solutions, lot of ERPs, CBS based systems, but all of these systems are today in data silos. They cannot talk to each other, which means they are not interoperable. Why they are not interoperable? Because they are not built on standards. There are no common data in all of them which can speak to each other. And then therefore they are not verifiable, their identities are fragmented. So if I call Pramod Meherda in one system, I might misspell myself and I could be a different person in different cooperative. So if I have to prove myself that I was in one particular cooperative and I'm trying to be a member of the other cooperative, and I tell them that I was there and that this is my credit history, and then they cannot port it. The identity cannot be ported, and my credit history cannot be trailed also, cannot be traced also. So in a sense, these are all closed ecosystems. And when we try and build, suppose there are fintech who wants to build a solution, a credit solution for the entire country using how cooperative systems are working, he cannot get the APIs from all of them, and these APIs will not give data which can talk to each other. So there is no federated view in the entire system. Now, this is all, with this background, we can design the cooperative system from isolated islands to open digital rails, which means which can then have an infrastructure. So it's not a portal, it is not a digitized system, but a DPI. So how do we do that? Today, and why should we do? Why now? Because, and in my opening itself, remark, I had mentioned about our DPIs. We have the DPI maturity in our country is huge, and all of us today use digital transactions through UPI. Seamless transactions happen without realizing what is happening behind, because there is a Aadhaar, there is a digital identity that we have given. You don't have to prove yourself again and again when you go into the app that you are the one. It automatically does everything by itself and digital transactions happen. So we have building blocks, Aadhaar, UPI, ONDC for commerce, and now AgriStack, which I mentioned earlier. And there is a political will, a huge political will. And we are all fortunate that we are living in these times that we are actually motivated to develop these DPIs and have systems which are transparent, trustable, where traceability is the mantra. And beyond that, we have also proved that these systems can work. So if UPI works, digital systems are being used even up to the last mile. So, like for instance, we recently launched something called Bharat Vistar, and where people can, when the last mile, somebody in the village, not having any smartphone also can talk to the app and get solutions resolved. So that is the confidence which is there today in our people at the grassroots level. So all of this combined helps us to formalize cooperative stack today. So today all these DPIs have generally been on individual basis, but not on institutions. That is the difference between the earlier DPIs and the DPI that we are wanting to design today. So the principles and the architecture of the cooperative stack would not be very different from the other DPIs. And what do they do is that one is that you have to have your verifiable single source of truth. I should have an ID. I should have an ID behind which there are details. And this is immutable, this is verifiable. So in cooperative, like farmer ID we can give a cooperative ID that can be decided. How it is to be given, it could be a random number, it could be basis the states, it could be basis different types of cooperatives. So there are n number of ways it can be done. Then have member IDs also. Today, if the farmer IDs are already there, those same farmer IDs can be seeded as member IDs into the after giving a cooperative ID. So they are getting linked. So one DPI is getting linked to another DPI. And then using both of them, then we can have a national registry. Build on them through secured and trusted open APIs. Now that we have a digital identity which can be traced back, a single source of truth, then we can have secured and trusted systems, open APIs, payments like UPI can be linked, market linkages, ONDC can be linked. Data with the beauty of a DPI is that it has to be federated. And it has to be federated for a simple reason that it is each component, each small component of the DPI is built by somebody and somebody owns it. So for instance, even in AgriStack, if we have 30 supporting registries also. So there is a seed registry also. The seed registry is not built by me or somebody else in the digital agriculture. There is a seed division which builds it. And the seed division dynamically updates it. There is another land registry which is with the revenue department. They dynamically update it, the RORs. And therefore, when a digital identity is created in a DPI, it is something that should remain with the person where it is. It could be individual, it could be assets, it could be seeds, it could be crops. It should remain with them. So they dynamically update it and they remain connected to each other. The beauty is that anytime you call that identity information, it is updated. Maybe whenever it was there, maybe yesterday or whenever, you are getting in real time. Therefore, many times, differentiating between databases and registries, many times people ask that why don't you give us farmer IDs you have built? We will seed it in our database system. We will also get farmer IDs and farmers details, etc. And we say, no, you can't do that because you have to every time call it, because that would have changed. The farmer would have changed. Tomorrow, a member of the cooperative system may cease to be a member. Then how do you know if you take the entire detail of the member and keep it, that the member continues to be a member of so-and-so cooperative society? You cannot do that. So every time through API secured systems, you call through APIs the data and build it in your system. So ownership has to remain there. But at the same time, while you are fetching data every time, the privacy is very, very important of the person. That is not to be disclosed, only to be given through consent. So we have consent manager in AgriStack. There has to be a consent manager in the cooperative stack also. And there would obviously be certain data commons, which will be aggregated data. So if I want to know an aggregated crop of data of a state or a district or village, I can get it. That's not, that is anonymized data, not private data. So that can be used for analysis, policy, etc. That data commons are also there, and then has to be transparent, and it also would lead to transparency and efficiency in the system. So today we do voting, so because these are democratic systems in cooperatives, and democratic systems need to be transparent also. So for that, e-voting, if I do e-voting today, paper-based, etc., how do you go trace back? Sometimes there are allegations also. But here you can trail back. There is a audit trail of who voted, where and when. So these audit trails can also be seen. And then smart compliance. If there is a compliance for subsidy, for others, how it is happening, etc., all that can happen through it. The core design principles, therefore, are federated. It has to be inclusive. Everyone of even a small cooperative or a large cooperative should follow the same design principle, and the DPI should be able to scale up and scale down even for the smaller cooperatives also. And trust by design, which means I have to trust that data, because each and everything is authenticated and dynamically updated and can be verified tracing back the same data. And then open standards, which means people can use it, fintechs can use it, startups can use it through sandbox environment, APIs. And the other principle is that you reuse, you don't rebuild. That I have already explained, when you don't again and again take the dump and use it. So you have to build it again. Today I have to apply in a system as a farmer. If I don't have a farmer ID, every time I have to give my information, which means I'm rebuilding myself again and again and again. But I do it once and then you reuse it any number of times. Is the farmer ID. And phygital access also, obviously, when we are in a country of this size, there have to be phygital systems initially, where the common service centers, PACs, or Krishi Sakhis, or through our telephones, etc., we need to remain connected with the members and the cooperatives to resolve their grievances, unless and until we have a very good grievance system also behind the DPI, suddenly there could be a mistrust in the DPI itself. So standing on the shoulders of DPI giants, I have already mentioned Aadhaar, UPI, ONDC, AgriStack, wonderful work has been done. So this same design can be inbuilt into the cooperative stack also, which would be the next frontier of digital economy. So the stack in detail would be, we have 6 interlocking layers. Why do we call it a stack? These are the stacks. These are the layers. So the first one is the lowest one being the identity layer, then data layer, service layer, governance layer, analytics and data commons, and innovation layer, which I have already explained earlier. So these are the layers where the higher layers would depend on the lower ones, and lower layers are public goods. The upper ones actually add value. The lower ones are which lay foundation, the upper ones are which we add value to the cooperative stack. So the layer 1 would be an identity. So this would be the passport to India's digital cooperative economy. So let's say, what does it do? Basically, the cooperative ID would be unique, and it will be verifiable, it will be tamper-proof, and then linked to it would be a member ID. Member ID could actually be taken up from other DPIs also, like AgriStack. So then if it is not there, then it has to be built, again records, and it records the role of the person, the contributions, voting rights, benefit history, everything. Why do we do that? Is because every time you do a voting, then all those who are eligible for voting would be displayed, and they can only vote. And if there are benefits history there, if a bank wants to see what benefits he has received, what payments he has made, there is a credit history. So he need not again the bank need not get papers, and therefore can easily, immediately, underwrite the loan also, or the credit. And it will also lead to instant verification by government departments, banks, and marketplaces. It would also link members to cooperatives and cooperative federations also. And the beauty should be that one should be able to access it through apps and through phygital systems also. So let's say, if we were to compare it with paper system today, and what digital system would be there after the digital cooperative, the cooperative stack. So the registration paper files today in registrar's office, you'll have to look back, find out where it is lying, which cupboard, where, and etc. Today, if we have a cooperative stack, this digital cooperative ID is queryable in seconds, and you'll get all the information. Subsidy claims, if again you'll have to go back, get photocopies, signed certificates, and almost 45 days sometimes could be a wait, the upper limit. And then but in this case, the instant verification via stack within 2 minutes. So we tried giving credit in the AgriStack, using AgriStack, and it takes around 20 to 25 days in the banking system. Some banks do it better, 15 days also. But if I were to give loan based on KCC and sanction a KCC for a farmer, it hardly takes 30 minutes. So imagine from from 20 days to 30 minutes. Here also the same thing would happen. So the person need not even visit the bank. And you can just share the cooperative ID digitally, which is auto-verified in the system. New members, if I had mentioned earlier, if I have to port my ID, I have to become a member of somewhere else, some other cooperative society or a federation, I need not prove myself, just give my ID. Then the data, obviously, data has to be federated and consent-driven. Obviously, the data stays where it is generated, which means it has to be with the owner, the ownership with the fiduciary, who is the fiduciary of the data, and who ensures that the privacy of the data principal is ensured. So these are the insights where, to maintain transparency, every cooperative would maintain a public data ledger showing what data is held and who assesses it today. So consent would be an external data sharing would require the member to consent, log, verifiable, that time bound, it can be done immediately. Portability, members can export their records whenever they are moving from one cooperative to another cooperative or to a federation. But it will also have purpose limitation, which means my ID, if I am to share my ID also with somebody, I can also purpose limit it. The system should allow me for a purpose limitation. So there are 3 purposes, I check only one. So it will be used only for that purpose. The other 2 purposes cannot do it. And it should be revocable also, which means I can also revoke my consent to give my data to the purpose that I had given earlier. And then it will also should have a community oversight where elected data committees within each cooperative would also govern compliances, etc. So one can actually, at each cooperative society or a cooperative organization, you can actually keep a person who maintains, who sees the data, who handles grievances, and who ensures that the data is dynamic and current. The layer 3rd and 5 would be trust, payment, and governance. So these are basically the value additions over the foundational data. So the trust and verification in the system would, you can cryptographically sign the transactions, we can verify credentials, which are banks can verify easily using these. The insurers can verify, the buyers can verify. There would be digital audit reports also replacing paper submissions. And it will be entirely a protocol-driven trust. So it will also have, other DPIs can also be connected. For instance, the credit and payments, the UPI can be connected. Account aggregators can use it and verify the transaction history. The dairy cooperatives can share milk data with lenders for working capital. So, and there is a trust in the system. The loan turnaround actually could be reduced from 45 days to 5 days. And it will also lead to digital governance. So e-voting with verifiable audit trails, which I had mentioned earlier. So digital annual returns also, in automated compliance reminders can go and through the cooperative societies. And a dashboard can actually identify which are the cooperative societies because they have identity. So the data can be pooled, analyzed, and the smart contract bylaws can also be, there could be automatic alerts when audits are overdue. Then dashboards for registrars, state, ministry, etc. can actually see the overall compliances, audits, votings, and whatever KPIs are kept, the key performance indicators for cooperative societies, all can be viewed at one place using the DPI data. So all of that data, now let's imagine how that can be used. So finally the fruit of the pudding is in its eating. So we have a foundational layer and it can't be used fruitfully. then there's no use of making a foundational layer. So once we have foundational data, how can it add value for each and every stakeholder? So let's say take one use case. One could be credit enablement. So AgriStack, for instance, gives the entire data of the farmer, land, crop, livestock, fisheries, and if there are sowing declarations could also be there. The yield estimates are connected. eKYC verified identity is there. Now link them with the members. If they are the member, then the member cooperative linkage happens. But if they are not, the member ID would be created. Governance records, transaction histories, asset registers of the cooperative society with these farmers can be connected. And then the bank, with all of this data, bank need not send somebody for verification in the field and on paper-based verification, which are also not trustworthy many times. So bank, sitting in the bank, can have a decision engine using all of this data and automatically underwrite loans. And then bank also gets a trusted data and also feels that the underwriting has happened transparently. And the collateral, it also becomes collateral light lending because you know who are the collaterals, etc. And the faster dispersal also. The outcome would be that the cooperative member access formal credits faster, at lower cost, and with less paperwork. So let's say this is a dairy cooperative member, Shanti Devi or any name. How does it happen? Today, if there is no cooperative stack. So today, if Shanti Devi has to go and sell her milk, she would walk down, milk the cow manually, walks to cooperative, the president writes milk in a notebook, the payments take weeks, errors are common because God knows what he might have written, he might have made error also, obviously humans make errors. And there are no record of her contribution history also, they cannot be connected to each other also. How much did she sell yesterday, month ago, year? That trail is difficult to connect these dots. Then if she has to go to the bank loan application, it also takes a lot of time because she has to prove all of this. And she collects papers, give it to them, he loses paper somewhere, sometimes bring the paper again, or bring another paper. So there is no visibility of Shanti Devi in the whole scheme ecosystem. She's not visible there. And therefore she has to prove everything again and again. Now, after cooperative stack, you have a very inexpensive app that can be used by the persons who are collecting milk. They log it in. There is a logger of her member ID. They first identify her member ID, connect how much milk she has given, connect it to the member ID. Then the payment is immediately settled because you are UPI connected. By the time she reaches home, the money is in her bank. And that credit history is also logged in her app. She goes to the bank, says how much milk I'm selling, see my transaction history and everything. They can see through a member ID, immediately sanction a loan, and immediately within 5 working days. She also gets an automatic SMS alert that she has got it, and then government, based on what she is doing, can also send her alerts for which scheme she is eligible for. And so she can also apply for all those schemes. Similarly, the bargaining power. This is what would help cooperative sector to pool in all its products because you are now collecting these through member IDs, cooperative IDs. All of what is grown by the crops can be pooled at one place. So and then it can then be bargained with a buyer or in the market, and through both the stacks connected together, you can also bargain on the price, and the quality records would also be connected. So all of this is on the system, and all of that is traceable, all of that is verifiable. Now, similarly, subsidy and scheme delivery, if I were to want to find out which all cooperative societies are eligible for a scheme that I am launching, I would immediately know, or how many members would be eligible in all of these cooperative societies. I can immediately find out. I can design, I would know my financial implications through the stack. And then decide how do I directly give them benefits also they can also be triggered because I have immutable audit trails also available there. Use case 5 could be cooperative governance reforms, which I mentioned earlier. AGM minutes could be connected to the IDs. The manual vote counting can be replaced with a cryptographic voting. Today there is no role-based access, but it can be replaced with a role-based authorization. Audits would today happen only by exception, but their audit will be by design. It will be continuously done. And today bylaws may not be enforced, but there will be automated bylaw checks also, and governance by design is what will happen with cooperative stack. So there's going to be a value for every stakeholder. Take it government, which has unified registries, real-time analytics, can be done by government for policy implication, for financial implications, policy designs, and can also link its performance-linked subsidies also to cooperatives. So if I have to rank, grade cooperatives, I have a system, and I can, and through a transparent system, the cooperatives can also be, competitively, they would work through performance-linked subsidies. Primary cooperative societies get instant digital identities, and they can get faster credit in days. And let me tell you that the smaller cooperative societies would benefit the most from it, because they are the ones which are mostly not visible or connected, or lose trust because they have to prove again and again. Apex federations can have shared service deliveries. Banks and financial institutions, as I mentioned earlier, would be able to see in their systems the credit history and all of that document that they want from the members or the cooperative societies, and then instantly, underwrite loans, etc. So they also would feel happy because there's going to be a reduced risk for banks also. And startups and tech partners, there could be a sandbox system around the DPI and the data of the members and the cooperative societies, which can then be used for building, accounting systems, logistics systems, analytics. So rural fintechs would greatly benefit from it. And the members, obviously, they are the real beneficiaries. The real-time earning access, etc., would be with them. They can port their cooperative IDs. They can give consent-based data rights, and there would be a simple grievance system for them, and they don't have to run around for their grievance redressal, etc. Also, so this leads to ease of life for everyone, for transparency and efficiency, ease of life for everyone, government or primary cooperative societies or apex federations, banks, startups, members, the entire digital ecosystem. So thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a highly valuable lecture. Your address has highlighted the growing importance of digital architecture, data systems, and informed decision-making in building a stronger and more responsible cooperative institutions. With this, we come to the close of this expert lecture session. I thank all our distinguished speakers for their valuable contributions and all participants for their presence and encouragement to the speakers. Now, we shall move to the next segment of the program. Now, we will have a breakout session after the lunch. We will break for the lunch, but before that, we would like to brief you about the breakout sessions. These sessions are designed as panel discussion. Their purpose is to identify practical and implementable pathways for strengthening the